Hi, I'm Bill Evans with Time Incorporated, and today we're going to look at these lettuce towers, aeroponic towers, and we're going to see how the nutrients are doing in them, and we're going to give them a refresh on those nutrients today. Each tower has about 24 lettuce plants in it. 24 in an area that's only 2 feet by 2 feet. Only takes about 45 days for these things to grow from the time we put them in the towers to the time we harvest them. So you can grow an average of about 1 lettuce plant every 2 or 3 days if you average it around when you plant different ones. But today, these have been planted for about 3 weeks now. So they're about 21, 22 days old in the tower. They were in a little growing cube for about a week before we moved them here. And I'll show you that here in a few minutes. But every week I come by at least once a week and I look at the lettuce. I want to make sure it's good quality. I want to make sure I don't see any insects. I try not to touch it, because you never know, even though I washed my hands before doing this. I try not to touch it because I don't want to give anything from my hands to the lettuce and cause problems. But I'll look down, I'll look for insects, because even indoors we can get insects. I'll look for diseased plants or plants that aren't growing as well. I'll make sure the timer's still going. There's a little timer on the top here that controls the water flowing inside. I'll look inside and I can hear the water. You can hear the water flowing down. It's like a giant shower. So the water is pumped up from the reservoir in the bottom, and then it goes up here and rains down to a very gentle shower. So the roots aren't actually growing in a big pool of water. They're actually growing in the air with water sprinkling on those roots. And every week the roots grow several inches. The roots from this lettuce plant will be all the way down to here by the time we finish in 2 or 3 weeks with the harvest of this lettuce. We're about 3 weeks from harvest here, although you could actually pick leaves off of this tonight. If you wanted a salad off of this tonight at home, there'd be no reason you couldn't pick some of the older leaves off of this lettuce. But today, I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at this down here. And I'm going to look in here, and there's a mark inside here for how deep the water should be. You can kind of see there's a kind of a ring on there. So I need to add a little bit of water to this. And then I check the other one over here. And this one here, same idea. I'm going to look at it. This one here has something a little different though. This one here has a float with a stick sticking out of it. And you may not be able to see it on camera, but there's a mark right in front of my ring finger there. And that little red mark is the full line. When I can see that mark above the tower, it means I have enough water in here. And right now, it's a little low. I can't see it yet. So I brought myself a pot of water. And what I'm going to do here today, first I'm going to fill the water to the right level. Then I'm going to add nutrients based on the instructions of how much nutrients I should add to the towers, based on the amount of new water I added. Then after I get the water and the nutrients added, then I want to go through and I want to make sure the pH, so the acid versus base of the water is correct, because that controls how the plants take up nutrients. We want it to be just slightly on the acid side, not vinegar, but not like chlorine or something like that, which is basic. We want it to be about 6. And I'll show you that in a few minutes here. It's really easy to do. But for now, let me add some water to this one here, and then I'm going to turn around and add water to the other one. I apologize for my back. I'm going to add that until I see that red line on the stick come up. And there it is. I can barely see it. You probably can't see it on your thing, but there's a little red line. And I'm going to close that up for now. And then I'm going to switch over to this other tower over here. Remember, there's 48 lettuce plants growing here in about 5 or 6 square feet of space. I'm going to add the rest of this water out of this pot. This is just tap water. This is just tap water out of the house. It's not distilled, it's fancy water. In fact, you don't want to use distilled water. Tap water is actually better. And then I have another clean bucket here with some more water. And I'm just going to fill it up to the mark in there because we don't have one of those sticks on this one. So there we go. And I've got some leftover water in the bucket. I don't need it. I don't want to overfill the tower either. I estimated that I added about 1 gallon of water to each of the towers.
Join us for the Sustainable Farming Institute Workshop Series from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Farmers Hands Market located at the Jackson Medical Mall. Register at the website or scan the QR code.
So then, I'm going to go over here. I've got some nutrients. Let's see, I gotta grab this one here. Nutrient A. And there's another bottle over here called Nutrient B. This is Nutrient B. And there's two separate ones because if you mix them in the bottle, they have a chemical reaction in the bottle. They don't once we add it to the water though and it's diluted. They don't have that same reaction. So the instructions for this are on the back of the bottle. And it simply says, to shake well, so we're gonna give this a few shakes. And then it says, for every gallon of water you added to the tower, add another 20 milliliters, or about 2 tablespoons, or a tablespoon and a half of A and a tablespoon and a half of B to your tower. So that's what I'm gonna do here next. So when there's marks on here, a tablespoon is about a half an ounce. So I'm gonna add just under 1 ounce of nutrients to this. And there's marks on this cup, and this isn't a lot actually. And it has to be close, but it doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to do this to the exactness because you're going to do this every week. And over time, a few percent over and a few percent under each week, it's all gonna average out and the lettuce is gonna be just fine. So I'm gonna add, I'm doing A first. I'm gonna add A to this one first. Then I'm gonna add A to the one behind me. I'm gonna get the lid off here again. There we go. These jugs come in these larger gallon size, but they also come in a quart size bottle too. And even a pint size bottle, which is what these bottles are over here. These are not nutrients, that's for the pH. We're going to do that in a minute. So here I'm gonna add 20 mils to this one here. 20 milliliters, tablespoon and a half, because that's what it was. But now, because I have to use this cup for something else in a few minutes, the B, I'm gonna rinse this out a little bit just by dunking it in. I'm not dunking the handle in because I don't want my hand to go in the water if it doesn't have to. That just gets rid of most of that A nutrient. So I'm done with this now. And I'm going to switch off and do this one here. This is the B. Oh, I didn't shake it, did I? Let's do that. One. We're just gonna shake that a little bit. Good. Set that up there. And again, 20 mils of this one too, so a tablespoon and a half. And you could use a cup like this, and I'm gonna go in the same order because otherwise I forget what I've done. So I'm gonna start with this one again over here. And then 20 mils again. Oopsie. And go like this, add 20 mils there. Rinse it out again a couple times. Rinse it out again a couple times. We go like that, ta-da, all that. That's all I have to do for the nutrients on this one. And all I'm doing is I'm replacing some of the nutrients that the lettuce has taken up, and I'm making sure the amount of nutrients, the concentration of the nutrients in the water stays about the same as it was when I started 3 weeks ago. But today I added some water, so I have to add some nutrients to make up for that too. So we've done that now, so that's done. So we've added water, we've added nutrients. The third thing we want to do on our weekly check is check the pH. But we want to do that always after we add nutrients because the pH can change the pH can change with the addition of the nutrients or the addition of the water. So we're going to check that now. And I'm going to set this lid way over there so it's out of my way. I've got this little jar here. In this little jar here, we're going to add 5 mils of nutrient solution to this little bottle here. Then I'm going to add 5 drops of this pH testing stuff. It's just like testing a pool. If you know someone who has a pool, it's the same idea. So there we go. So I'm at 5 mils. I'm at 5 mils there. So now I'm going to take this lid off. set that on the chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I set that there. Now, did you see that? See how it's orange on the tip of the thing there, but it's green in my bottle here? That means the pH of this is not the same as the pH of this, and it changed. Well, I got this cool little thing right here. I'm gonna put the lid on this here for a minute, just in case it spills. And give that a little shake. I've got this chart right here. Oh, look what happened. Our day has taken a break on this tower, and the clock has turned the lights off on this tower over here. That's another thing I have to do today. I have to check and make sure the clock is set at the right time. We've had some power outages. Normally this wouldn't be going off at this time. It'd be on for 3 more hours. So I'll have to check that in a few minutes, but that's really curious. But look at this chart here. It's got all these colors on it, and that's what this liquid turns into based on the pH of the water. So down here, this is pH 9, the dark blue. Then all the way up to 7 is this dark green. Then you get into 6, 5, 6, all the way down to 4.5, which is that orange, right? Like that. So we actually want it in this range here. We want it between 5.0 and 6.5 or 6.0. So we really want it in these 3 colors here if we can get it. So let's see what I've done. So let's see if we can match that up best, okay? So clearly this isn't blue, right? Clearly that's not blue. I'll put it against the white over here. Let's do this, okay? Clearly that's, all right, clearly that's not blue, but it really looks really close to this green right here. Let's see if I can do this. This is not working out quite the way I wanted it to. So we get this. I've got that paper there, right? And it's got all the pHs on it from 4.5 up to 9.0 with the dark blue there. The 4.5 is this orange over here. I can set my bottle right on that, and I can see and move it until I get a matching color. And it looks like the matching color on this one is somewhere between 5.5 and 6.0. It's really close to that 6.0 color there if you look at that. Can you see that there? I hope you can see that there. It's really awesome. So really close to the 6.0 there. So I don't have to adjust the pH because it's right on the money today. But what I want to do next is I want to test this other tower. So let's go over here. I'm going to dump this out and rinse that a couple times there. And I'm going to take this lid off, set it right there. I'm going to grab this. Okay. Let's see if you get a little bit of this water here. Got too much water in there.
Join us for the Sustainable Farming Institute Workshop Series from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Farmers Hands Market located at the Jackson Medical Mall. Register at the website or scan the QR code.
It's interesting, in my experience, the volume doesn't matter too much. You can go up to about 10 mils and not have a problem. But so then I add the indicator, the pH indicator, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5, and I tap that, and look at that. We're very similar to what the other tower was, aren't we? Very similar. So very similar to that, maybe slightly darker toward the 6.5, but I think we're still okay, and I don't think I have to add any nutrients, any pH solution to it. But I think I will. I think I'm going to add just a tiny little bit. I'm going to add literally 5 mils of the pH reducer and see if we can get that green just a little lighter. So I'm going to do that here in just a second. Watch this. So I'm going to do that. Then, so I have 2 pH bottles here. This is a pH minus. It's going to lower the pH of the water if we add this to the water. This bottle here is a pH plus, and it's going to raise the pH if I add it to the water. It's going to make it higher. We want to lower it ever so slightly. So I'm going to read the instructions here. Same thing. It says after adding your nutrients, after filling the water and then adding your nutrients, then testing, then you can add 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon is about 5 milliliters. So I'm actually going to use this little bottle here. And this is not opened yet. So let me get something to open that real quick. Give me a second here. Let's see. Now, at home, I want to recommend, and it does recommend it on the bottle. At home, I recommend that you wear household gloves when you're doing this. I am going to, when I'm done with this, I'm going to immediately wash my hands again to make sure that, because we are actually, when we're using the pH minus, we're actually adding an acid. This is an acid in here, similar to vinegar, a little stronger than vinegar though. So you definitely want to be wearing glasses or eye protection when you're using this. You don't want to get it on fabrics and things that you don't want to damage. So you want to be careful. I'm going to do it over the bucket so I don't damage the rug here. I'm going to add 5 mils to this. And that's about right. So I'm going to add that to the water. And that should be all I need for this. I'm going to put the lid on because this is also, because it's an acid, we definitely always want to put a lid back on it because we don't want it to spill and damage anything. So now, remember there's a little bit of acid in here. So I have to go like this. I have to rinse it off a couple times. So I'm going to let that run for a couple of minutes here. While that's running, I'm going to show you something else. So the reason I'm letting that run is I want that acid to circulate through the water and get mixed in so that when I take a sample to test the pH again, it's accurate. So these are lettuce plants. These are what these were 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, these were this. And these are just little tiny plants in little tiny cubes. Let me pull one of these guys out here for you. I'm going to plant these later today in another set. And we're going to do a demonstration on these another time. These, the roots are growing inside that rock wool. It's called rock wool, like sheep's wool, rock wool. And rock wool is a natural product made from rocks. But it holds moisture and it allows the roots to grow through it. So it works really well for that. And if you put it, you can add it, put it out in the soil and stuff, and over a little while, it'll break down and not be a problem, as opposed to using something like foam or another product that might, or a plastic of some sort that might not be, break down, that wouldn't break down in the soil. So now I'm gonna go pull another 5 mils of water out of this. Remember, we gotta go back and check that tower, that pH. Oh, yeah, and so there we go. So we're at 5 mils again. I'm going to take that indicator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think I've achieved it. I think we've got a slightly lighter green than we had. What do you think? Doesn't that, it's almost to the 5.5. We've gone from someplace in this range to someplace down in this range here now. Can you all see that? So I think we've achieved what I want to achieve. I'm not going to add any, I'm not going to make any more changes. I don't want to put this away dirty, so I'm going to use the tower water to rinse it there, but then I have clean water down here, and I'm going to rinse some of that and just use this other bucket as a cleaning thing for that. So now I can put this all away. So what have we done here today? So I want to make sure I get the lids back on there. I told you I wanted to check the timers. 3:27, so we've lost a half hour. So there we go. So now I'm going to click that switch right back there. So I've adjusted that. So you can definitely see the difference between the green lettuce, and this is actually a red leaf lettuce that hasn't turned green yet. If we put this out in natural light, it would turn red and be vivid red like grocery store red lettuce is. In fact, these are as good a lettuce as you're going to find in any grocery store, any gourmet salad, and you can grow them right at home. We buy the seeds from a common seed company. Any lettuce seed will do. I like pelleted lettuce seed, but I'll tell you that another story. We'll do another video on seeding the things and how we do that. And I told you I looked for bugs and things like that. Let me check the timer over here real quick. And if I can do this real quick. And that one, it's over here, excuse me. And that one looks good. So we're good. That's all I have for you today. Again, to review what we did, we checked the towers, we checked the water level first, then we added nutrients second, Then we adjusted the pH, but only after we determined that it needed to be changed. Because we only changed it on the one tower. We did not change the pH on this tower. It was fine. This one needed a slight adjustment. Thank you very much. I'm Bill Evans with Time Incorporated. I hope you enjoyed this talk about aeroponic lettuce.